Hi, this is Kevin Eastman, co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, publisher of Heavy Metal Magazine, and all-around good guy. And I love the Horrible Movie podcast.
All right, welcome to the Horror Movie Podcast. This week we have the co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Eastman. Kevin, welcome.
Oh, so glad to be here, guys. Thanks so much for inviting me.
I can't tell you, whenever Jared was telling us that you were willing to come on, man, I'm telling you, your creation was and is such a huge, I don't know, how many people's childhoods has has your creation just like made? I'm telling you, man, awesome.
Well, first, thanks. And I always thank fans like yourself and so many fans that we get to meet every year. My wife Courtney and I, we do about 12 to 15 shows a year, and it's hard to believe that, after the Turtles will be 34 years old next year, and it's hard to believe I still have such an awesome job. And I always pay my respects and awesome and incredible, humbling thanks to all the fans that have given me this job, because I am the luckiest guy in the world. I still, to this day, I'm 55 years old. I get up and, get to draw comic books for a living. Awesome. My goodness. It's a dream. It really is.
We were just in doing kind of research for this interview and just looking, kind of in depth on the old interweb. You're kind of what I glean, your initial Turtles drawing, okay? And I think I listened to an interview where you said it was Michelangelo, basically, right?
Yep, that's right.
And so you show this to Peter Laird, and then I feel like all signs point to, from that point on, did this thing just go into turbo speed, super mode? And did it feel that way for you? Because it seems like it just went like instantly viral before there was a viral concept, obviously. But
well, relatively, it was definitely a very short period of time, and for me, I guess it was, we self-published. We did the first drawings in 1983. We drew the first comic book together, late '83, early '84. The first comic came out in 1984, and then, I was still working, a couple of jobs to pay the rent, and the comic books was always the dream and the passion. But it was when we solicited for issue 2, which honestly, that's why the first issue of the Turtles is self-contained. We never thought there'd be a second one. So when we had fans sort of writing saying, "Hey, I bought issue 1, I loved it. When are you going to do another one?" So Peter and I started working on issue 2, and then when we get the orders for it in January of 1985. It was 15,000 copies. The first issue was 3,000. And then at 15,000 copies, we figured through some quick calculations, we could make enough money if we did 6 issues a year to pay our rent, eat all the macaroni and cheese we want, and draw comic books for a living. And pretty much since January of 1985, I've been drawing comic books. So that, to me, it just could not have gotten any better from that point on. And the fact that, it went, each issue sold more. By 1987, we were talking to people about doing cartoons and toys, which we thought was a ludicrous idea. We didn't think anybody would buy them. And by 1988, we had a cartoon show on the air. The toys were on the shelves, and 2 years later, we had a movie. Yeah, so it, in a span of 4 years, we went from 2 guys cooking lobsters in a restaurant, drawing comic books, and to having the number 1 toy line in the country, and that was mind-blowing in every sense of the word.
So cool. So the current the Turtles currently you guys are on IDW, is that correct?
Yes, IDW is my main job. My main passion has always been the comic books, and so I've been working with IDW since 2011 on the new Turtles comic series. We just hit issue 75. Thank you, fans. And I also consult with Nickelodeon on the cartoon show, written a couple episodes, do a voice of Ice Cream Kitty, and I've done some consulting on that, the most recent Turtle movies, which I know you guys love. So
absolutely. Hey, sir, we can talk about the most current movie. Phil and I were talking about this the other day. We went to the Chiefs game the other day, and on our way to the Chiefs game, we were talking about you and talking about the most current Turtles movie Is it Out of Shadows? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, it's got Bebop and Rocksteady in it. It's got Krang in it. It's got all the elements that people wanted in a Turtles movie for a long time. I
right.
liked it, and Sheamus is in it, and I love Sheamus as a wrestler. He's awesome.
No, he is actually. It's funny. One of the first wrestling matches that we took our son Shane to. He's 11. We went to I live here in San Diego. We went to a wrestling match because Sheamus was there.
Yeah,
it's one of his favorite. It was one of his favorite guys, and we've met him since, and he's not only the coolest guy but the nicest person ever. But no, the most recent movies, it's I always address them as I consulted on them. There were things that I thought that they did were great. I thought there were things that I would have done differently.
Right.
But I'll definitely say the second version that we finally got to see Bebop and Rocksteady on the big screen. We got to see Krang. It was definitely a great live-action version of the cartoons and paid great homage to the original cartoon series. So,
right.
No, it's just the Turtles for me. I just wish they hadn't been so big and bulletproof and stuff. I would have done them more like teenagers. But it was so I had some issues with it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Phil, producer Phil, is on, and he absolutely loves the current run of the Turtles. Phil, you have a couple questions for Kevin?
Yeah. So, like Jack was saying, I just really my entry point into Turtles comics was IDW. I had never read any comics about the Turtles before that 2011 run, and I actually have I own a copy of the first 12 issue story arc in hardback form at home. And it was really stupid. I bought it and was going to bring it to Planet Comic-Con when you were at Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City, and ended up leaving it at home. And so I was going to get an autograph from you, and then I totally didn't even bring it with us. So, but anyways, I love that first story arc. Could you talk a little bit about your inspiration for the reincarnation? I don't want to spoil the story for people who haven't read it, but the fact that the four turtles in Splinter are all family members. They in a previous life were father and sons. All these guys are literal brothers with each other. What kind of inspired that? That's one of my favorite story arcs of any comic of all time, and I really enjoyed reading it. I actually read it twice over, the second time with my wife. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the inspiration for that story.
Sure, and gladly. It's honestly, I put the blame squarely on Tom Waltz, who's the head writer. Who's, when I talk about him, I always say that I want to be Tom Waltz when I grow up, because I think he's such a fantastic writer. I really love his take on the Turtles, his handling of the Turtles, and when Viacom bought the Turtles and were almost simultaneously developing and launching the new cartoon series, working on some of the movies, they IDW contracted the rights to do the comics, and Ted Adams, who I've known, one of the co-founders, invited me down to meet the guys and wanted to talk about what they had planned and what they would like to do with the series. And Tom Waltz pitched me this idea, which he kind of looked at all the different Turtle universes, from the original black and white comics to the 2000 show, which was one of his favorites, and some of the isms, and he sort of boiled it all down to two things. One is putting his own sort of unique spin on it, but still keeping all the important isms of the Turtles, the family first. Family kind of makes up the most important dynamic of the stories, whether it be the ones that Peter and I did or the most recent IDW ones. And I just thought it was fantastic, the way he handled it, the way he wanted to roll it out. And that's where I started my involvement as a consultant and then, hands-on. And I felt that, the fans were either going to fall in love with it, like I did, or they were going to, hang us from the nearest tree. But fortunately, no, they've embraced it. They love what I love about it, which is the tonality of it, the edginess of it, is very similar to, it's the closest you ever get to what Peter and I originally did. But the way that we are able to, under Tom's new foundation and this new story concept, we can pull characters from all the different Turtle universes, whether it be, and we've done that from the Archie series, from the cartoon series, the 2000 series, some of the movies, They all get to be rolled into and tweaked a little bit. Paid respect to homage and plus bring in lots of new characters. So I can't believe that we've just finished issue 75 after all this years. And Tom and I and Bobby Curnow, the series editor, we conceptualize, we plot, and we pace out where we want to take the series and what we want to do with it. But Tom does all the heavy lifting, the scripts, issue to issue, and I love the guy, and I love the series. It's hands down one of my favorites.
Yeah, and if I could ask one other question about the series, I think, again, I really don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't had a chance to read them, but I guess it was about a couple of years ago, you guys made the decision to basically kill one of the turtles. I won't go into the specifics of how that happened or even who it was, but unless you don't care. But how did that conversation come about, and what was the impetus, kind of the moving force of saying yes to that, and yeah, let's go down that very dark road that we really haven't progressed down before in the past?
Well, it's a great question, and definitely keep reading the series. Because I know I always say that we didn't kill Donatello. It was the internet that killed Donatello. And what I mean by that is what's so beautiful about what we've been able to do with the series, with the full support of Nickelodeon, and tell some really edgy stories. Like in this, we did a 7-issue run called City Fall, where Leonardo's turned to the dark side and is convinced in his previous life and in this life he's Shredder's son, and actually turns on the Turtles to different paths. Leatherhead, Rat King as a character is this really evil, twisted version of him in our story. And so with Donatello, we were telling this really dynamic storyline, and it was important to stage a number of things leading up to issue 50, which is such an incredible double issue that sort of wraps up all of the previous 49 issues in that one issue, and it's pretty dynamic. We wanted this moment where we looked as if we killed Donatello. We did not. He was just severely beaten and then put in the consciousness of Metalhead and all that. But it was, but people, still, I've been, for the next year, people were coming up and they said, "I stopped reading the series because you killed Donatello." And I'm like, we didn't. You have to keep reading. And it said two things. One, the most important part was, my goodness, you fans, we really care about what we've been doing in the series, and that if we can create an emotion like that takes you to that place, it's humbling. It's an honor that that you are so passionate about the stories, that you really felt that we told a great story and you fell for it, I guess. But no, by issue 50 he was back, and it would be heartbreaking. I don't think I could. I had a story in mind. Actually, Peter and I had a story in mind, which we call The Last Turtle Story. It's something that we came up with many, many years ago, and have never finished the script or finished the work. But it was, when you start going down that path, it's pretty heartbreaking to think you ever want to do away with one of your characters. And I never would want to be one of those, the Death of Superman, where we kill a character and then bring it back in 10 different forms or something. So we appreciate that you guys care about him as much as we do.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, we have a friend of the show whose name is Jerry McMullen, and Jerry is one of the hosts of the Worst Comic Podcast Ever, and we've collaborated with him a few times. I feel like you guys may have collaborated a little bit at maybe Planet Comic Con this last year in Kansas City, and he sent over a few questions, and they are hard-hitting questions. Here's number one, Kevin. There's been a ton of Turtles merchandise over the years. What is the oddest product that has ever sported the TMNT logo?
Man, that's there were a few. I won't lie. And it's funny when I bring this up, because a lot of fans actually really liked it. But they did these. To me, it just looked gross, and it was. It tasted funky. They did these turtle moon pies. It was like a half moon pastry that had this green filling with green frosting on it.
Oh my gosh.
And it just looked like something that had spoiled or something. That was probably one. And actually, I put the turtle cereal in the same category. It was like, sugar-covered wheat checks with marshmallow,
Yes.
different colored marshmallow ninja weapons. But yeah, for the food stuff, that was definitely it. Some of the toys I thought were pretty, Mutagen Man and Pizza Face, and some of those were pretty awesome. But I think the weirder ones, I liked them better. But yeah, I guess that would be the Turtle Moon Pies. That was the one that was seemed the grossest.
Okay, so here's another one. Part of the mystique of TMNT when it debuted was there was so little information on the title. Like when you guys first created it, and the only way people could get info on it was literally to buy it and to read it. Can an indie book like that break through in today's current market? Is there a shot of that happening again?
Well, I think that what's so awesome about what has changed so much with the internet and so many ways to communicate globally is in the social places you can do that. But I think you can introduce a character or characters. You can publish digitally. You can reach a lot more people at very little or no cost besides your personal investment in time and sweat equity into it. But you're right. I mean, I think it was for us. It was a whole different. There weren't cell phones, internet, anything like that,
right.
And we sold specifically only through comic book stores. So the only place you could find the Turtles comic book is if you wandered into your local neighborhood or drove to your local neighborhood comic store and put down $1.50, and which is 33 years ago. That's a lot of cash. Still is. But. Yeah, that's the only way you could do it. It was word of mouth, and that's what built the franchise. But yeah, there's hope. I think, and I see a lot of really talented young people with great ideas, and they're getting out there. They're self-publishing. It's mostly digital, building an audience before they can go into the full-on publishing thing. But I'm very inspired by the talent. They're all 30 years younger than I am and draw better than I do.
Okay, here's a really tough one. What's your favorite pizza topping, and is there anything that shouldn't go on a pizza, Kevin?
That's I always used to laugh at the some of the in the late 80s, early 90s cartoon, the different kinds of the anchovy and jelly bean pizza and something else, but that just seemed disgusting. But my favorite, actually our family favorite pizza is a Hawaiian pizza with jalapenos on it.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, you should definitely try it. It's my wife Courtney's dad loves the ham and the pineapple and the whole thing, but just throwing the jalapenos on there, man, it kicks it into a whole other level.
Okay, here's one last one from Jerry McMullen. How hard is it to give up creative control on your characters, especially when you sign them? Basically, you're signing it over for movies or for an animated show. How hard is it for you to give up that creative control?
Well, we were so spoiled in the early days where the first I guess 15 to 20 years of the Turtles, pretty much from 1987 through the late 90s, mid 90s ish, Peter and I pretty much had complete say. We worked on we had complete and final say. I mean, we worked on all 300 cartoon episodes, the original episodes, all the movies. We oversaw every aspect of our creation, and before anybody out there in the public saw anything with a turtle on it or read anything, we saw it, worked on it, and had a hand in it. But we were also used to, when growing up reading comic books, say if you were a fan of, I don't know, the Avengers or X-Men, different creative teams would come in and out. Some you liked better than others, some you didn't like as much, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so, when we let go of the Turtles, we had already spent 15, 20 years having our say, building this foundation of what, built the Turtle universe. And there's been Turtle projects that have come out since we sold the rights many years ago, some that I've liked more, some that I've liked less, but I'm just happy that a lot of people that have taken a shot at the Turtles, have kept that heart and soul. I think that the family aspect, the heart and soul of what we built around the characters, and that seems to always be, present in the projects, even if the projects themselves could have been a little bit stronger, or I look at it as something I would have done differently. But then again, I'm happy with it, and I'm comfortable with it, and I'm grateful for guys like Ciro Neely, who heads up the Nickelodeon cartoon series, which I love. Ciro grew up in Philadelphia. His dad owned a pizza place. He grew up eating pizza and drawing turtles, and now they couldn't have been a better guy to head up the creative development of the Nickelodeon cartoon series. And Tom Waltz, who grew up as a turtle fan, they put their passion and their love of the characters before they got a chance to do it, and they're taking it all home the right way. So I'm very proud of them. That's
awesome. So we're a movie podcast. We've talked about this, and I'll say this. I'm going to ask you this. What do you think of the Turtles movies in general? And I'm just saying from a standpoint of the goods part, the bads part. Hey, I'm telling you right now, Kevin, in 1990 when that first one, that Turtles movie came out, dude, I bought that VHS. I'm not sure if it was Domino's or Pizza Hut. Who was the franchise that got the pizza deal on that one?
I think I'm pretty sure it was Domino's, because they had the Domino's delivery scene in the first movie,
yes.
and that was we corrupted a lot of kids to eat more and more pizza thanks to the Turtles.
Thanks a lot, Kevin, for that. I haven't stopped eating pizza since.
Well, I'm telling you, I eat pizza a couple times a week, so I'm in the same position, buddy. And my favorite pizza now, but.
I blame you for my obesity. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
We're in good company, my friend. By far, hands down, my favorite my favorite Turtle movie of all time will be that first Turtle movie. Steve Barron directing, Todd Langdon writing, Jim Henson doing the creatures. Absolutely loved it. It was a dream come true. That it's one thing to have a comic book or a cartoon and a toy. Those are definitely completely different mediums, but to bring those characters to life on the big screen was mind bending, and the team that they had to pull together to do it was beyond perfect. The second movie, Secret of the Ooze, the script was a bit different and a little bit edgier. It ended up being a bit more of a live-action cartoon than I would have liked, but it ends up being one of them. The fans really like The Secret of the Ooze. I like it less than the first one, of course. And actually, I like the third Turtle movie, Turtles in Time, but a lot of fans like that the least, but I put that as sort of my second favorite.
Cool.
But, going through the 2007 Kevin Monroe animated film was fantastic. That battle scene on the rooftop with Leo and Ralph was fantastic. A little unknown direct-to-DVD, one of my favorites is Turtles Forever, which is the cartoon Turtles with the 2000 Turtles. They go back in time and meet the original black and white Turtles.
Oh, wow, cool.
Wow.
Turtles Forever, you should check it out. And and then right up to the most recent ones, again, which there's some great stuff in there. There's some stuff that I would have done a little bit differently, but there's a lot of fun stuff to be found in them as well.
That's cool. Hey, Kevin, before we get out of here, tell us about Drawing Blood. You were talking about a Kickstarter on that.
Oh, sure. Yes. First, thank the fans for supporting. I have this independent project that I co-created with a friend of mine, David Avalone, and it's about a character named Shane Bookman. We call it the completely fictional true story of Shane Bookman, and who created a very popular anthropomorphic set of characters, these samurai cats in the 1990s. Did the Rockstar thing, went a little crazy, and it's sort of a Breaking Bad meets Spinal Tap meets Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, but it all takes place in the world of comics, and it's a pretty interesting tale, and there's lots of stuff that has some of my experiences in there, but more importantly, a lot of experiences that I've a lot of friends I've made over the last 34 years, and I've heard some great stories, and so we're sort of doing this inside the comic world, but it's fictional, and there's some there's gunfights, and there's all kinds of things that you might imagine a rock star would experience, but we're looking at this as a comic book rock star. So the fans came out, supported it. We hit our goal. I was working on this on the series today, so we're trucking forward and look forward to its hitting the stands in January of next year.
Awesome. Well,
I know I'll definitely be looking forward to that and checking that out. It's kind of your Birdman, right? Like kind of the Michael Keaton thing.
Yeah, that was definitely. I love that. I love Birdman as a concept. This one is definitely. I think you could take that concept and add it to the Breaking Bad and the Spinal Tap. Because Spinal Tap was one of my favorite all-time movies. Yeah, you can definitely put that in the mix for sure. But I hope people dig it because we've got a couple more series we'd like to do with the character. So hopefully we can continue it on if the fans like it as much as we had.
Crank it up to 11, right? Right, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything else you want to tell our fine audience or anybody?
Well, nothing beyond. I had a great time hanging out with you guys, chatting. We have to have me back, and we'll talk about bad movies because I love my good bad movies. So invite me back. We'll talk some more.
Okay.
Thank the fans for the support of Turtles of these last 34 years. So let me adjust my depends and thank you again. And
That's awesome.
Respect and appreciate it, and you guys are awesome. Thank you,
Kevin. Thank you. Hey, seriously, thank you so much. It's all of our pleasure. Trust me, brother. Thanks, man. And tell you anything we can ever do. If we run into each other at a comic book convention, we need to, I'll give you a big high five. How about that?
Yes, and Phil, you can bring the book in next time so I can sign it for you.
Definitely will.
All right.
All
right, Kevin. Thank you so much, sir. What a great guest, Kevin Eastman. Are you kidding me? I cannot believe that we just talked to Kevin Eastman, the co-creator of the Turtles. Awesome.
He's super friendly.
I know, he's awesome.
Golly.
Did you doubt?
I don't know what I expected.
Doubted he would be friendly.
I expected like more of a ninja
Dude,
guy. I don't know.
He is such next level.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I'm just like.
Oh, I thought you were about to give me a high five, but you're just showing levels.
He's such next level. And I'm just like, man, why is he even talking to me right now?
Have you? He talked about his that pizza. Would you try that?
Well, I would. I love jalapenos.
Really? Do you like?
I love Hawaiian pizza, man. I love Hawaiian pizza.
I don't know.
Okay, so folks, this we just talked to Kevin Eastman. Tell your friends, please tell your friends. But this week on our main episode, which is a Thursday, you're going to hear Jared and I actually talk about The Dark Tower.
Stephen King's The Dark Tower.
Yeah, so pretty good segue. No preview for this. We're not going to listen to preview, but just make sure you tune in on Thursday. Remember the new format that's kind of coming down the pipe. There's a message that I kind of put out on iTunes, and it's kind of going around social media, changing a couple things up with the podcast. All positive, all awesome. Nothing bad, all good, and new things coming down the pipe.
Do I still have a job here?
You're the all-star now, man.
Oh, okay, good.
You're the media relations.
I haven't listened to that message yet. So
You're
I
head
don't
of
know
media relations here at the Horror Movie Podcast Studios. So anyway, guys, Jared, thanks for coming in, and we will see you on Thursday.
It's hard to say. I keep wanting to say
Friday.
Friday.
Used to Friday. We did Friday for so long. So
yeah.
We have a lot of episodes, folks. Go back and listen to old episodes. Seriously, just check them out. There's a lot of great
confused
content.
when they say listen on Friday, because now you're going to listen on Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Thursday.
Anyway, it's got to be your boy.
Nice.
But anyway, all right. Thanks, guys. And we will see you on Thursday for The Dark Tower. Stephen King's awesome. Well, it's not really his movie, but it's his book that was turned into a movie. So,
yeah.
Anyway, all right. See ya.
Bye.